हेलो गाइस, लास्ट वीक मैंने अपनी कुछ फेवरेट फिक्शनल फिल्म्स रिकमेंड की थी. आज मैं कुछ अपनी फेवरेट डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज रिकमेंड करूँगा. सो यस, लेट्स स्टार्ट. द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्री दैट आई वुड रिकमेंड इज़ बीचेस ऑफ एग्नेस. जैसे लास्ट वीक मैंने बोला था, मैंने बहुत सारी मास्टर्स की फिल्म्स नहीं देखी. जो देखी थी वो कॉलेज में देखी थी और उनको भी एक दूसरे नज़र से देखा था. कुछ डाइसेक्शन नहीं किया था मैंने. तो मैंने एग्नेस वर्डा देखना तभी शुरू किया था, सैडली व्हेन शी पास्ड अवे. एंड माई इंस्टाग्राम एंड माई फेसबुक एंड द वर्ल्ड अराउंड मी, द फिल्म वर्ल्ड अराउंड मी वॉज जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट हर. सो आई वॉज वेरी वेरी क्यूरियस. सो वन इवनिंग बोथ मी एंड माई पार्टनर, वी ऑल्सो हैव अ फिल्म क्लब एट होम. हम दोनों ने सोचा कि चलो लेट्स वॉच अ फिल्म एंड लेट्स स्टार्ट विद बीचेस ऑफ एग्नेस, बिकॉज सिर्फ वही डाउनलोड हो पा रही थी. सो हैप्पी कोइंसिडेंस. And we saw this film and man, I loved it. I loved it for a lot of reasons, but my basic reason or my first reason to like this film is simply because बहुत सारे लोग डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज को एक डब्बे में डाल देते हैं. इट्स जस्ट इंटरव्यूज़ दिखाओ क्या हो रहा है, इंटरव्यूज़ दिखाओ क्या हो रहा है. उनके हिसाब से दे आर नॉट वेरी एनर्जेटिक, दे आर नॉट सिनेमैटिक, दे आर नॉट पोएटिक, दे आर नॉट फन. But she is the queen of fun, at least in that film. I've seen one more film of hers very recently at a film festival in Bangalore. मुझे ये फिल्म काफ़ी reasons की वजह से अच्छी लगती है. इसका क्राफ्ट बहुत सुंदर है. She does animation, she does conventional storytelling. But इस फिल्म का जो टोन है वो हमेशा सेम रहता है, So that ways you actually see a master at work. An Indian equivalent of hers would be someone like a Paromita Vora, who don't kind of... I mean, I'm scared to use the word boring, but they know the limitations of the medium, but the documentaries don't feel limited, मतलब बहुत मज़ा आया इनकी डॉक्यूमेंट्री में. Also, one more point that I would like to make about her documentaries, and I've only seen two. I don't think they could have been made by a man. I think there are some films which can only be made by a woman. The sensibilities are totally different, the way they look at emotions. If I may say so, जैसे I don't think any of Sofia Coppola's films can be made by a dude. I just don't think वो possible है. I don't think the film that Greta just made, I don't think that's possibly can... I mean, you can see similarities between her and Noah's work, but it's a different form of storytelling, and it also shows the power of representation, because it's so different and it is so poetic, but at the end of the day, it's nothing but a story of a human being who you fall absolutely in love with. The next documentary that I would like to talk about is called When Four Friends Meet. ये मेरे favorite documentary filmmaker, Indian documentary filmmaker ने बनाई है. इनका नाम है राहुल रॉय. He is Delhi based. A lot of his films are about men. I won't say studying them or profiling them, but just a very intimate take on men and showing them in all their colors. This particular documentary is about four people who come from somewhat like a lower middle class background. It doesn't show them as, see, these are the kind of people, or it doesn't glorify them, it doesn't judge them, but it just, when it shows them in so many colors, right, it just, again, it does the job of what great documentaries or great storytelling does. It just brings you closer to the subjects or brings you closer to the characters that you're seeing on screen. There's a very, very beautiful scene where a guy is saying, where a father of one of these is talking in English, broken English, but English, and he's saying that I'm a graduate and my only disappointment is that my son didn't do better than me. And the camera pans to the son, and the son has his own way. Then it cuts to another character who's talking about that the only wish that I had was to provide, to make sure that my parents were comfortable, but they're not. Yet it shows them having a lot of fun, it shows them playing cricket, it shows them watching films, listening to a lot of music, just chit-chatting, just talking about the city, talking about employment, talking about their idea of happy life, talking about what they want from life. And the other thing that is so amazing about this documentary is it's how it's edited. It's edited by this another documentary filmmaker and editor called Reena Mohan. And I personally feel अगर editing का मज़ा है तो वो documentaries में ज़्यादातर दिखता है. The way the film is cutting from their life to what they see on TV, Bollywood songs and the ads and the cricket matches, and how it kind of juxtaposes the life that somebody aspires to live and the lives that these people are living. It's so beautifully and fascinating. It's a very, very nicely crafted film. It's also little under an hour. I think it's a 55-minute film. What this film also personally did for me is that I stopped judging the, I mean, I wouldn't say I stopped judging the people of Delhi, because you can't ever stop judging people. But I just started looking at the very people who I used to have problem with in a more empathetic light. At the end of the day, you're like, I wouldn't agree with him on a lot of things, but maybe I don't hate him that much, and maybe I would like to talk to him, which is a good feeling. One more thing that I would like to say about this documentary, or anything which is about your background or uses your background, you know, you either embrace it, like I did when I watched Oye Lucky Lucky Oye, that yes, I'm a West Delhi boy, or now that I've been listening to a lot of rap from West Delhi, or even your cricketers from West Delhi, you know, you embrace them. But sometimes when you hear terrible things happening from your area, you just want to detach, and you don't want to associate yourself from those places. This film made me feel the opposite, you know, towards my own city. I kind of felt like, as a continuation to my earlier point, ke these are my people, man, and there is merit in all of us having a conversation, as opposed to saying I'm this but they are that, and it's us versus them. You know, it just erases those lines, I guess, the divisions in a better way. The last documentary amongst the many great documentaries that I have seen, but I wish to recommend, ये एक्चुअली पहली बार होगा कि चलचित्र में कि कोई बंदा आया है और वो अपनी फिल्म रिकमेंड कर रहा है, but I feel I need to do that because the film that I'm going to talk about, or the film I'm talking about, is called Baavra Mann. It's a film that I worked on as an associate director, co-editor, in some capacity as a cameraman, sound guy, and so many other things. And it's directed by a very, very talented filmmaker called Jaideep Verma. I worked on this documentary for 3.5 years. I was studying in Pune, and the third day of being pass out, I landed up in Bombay, and we started working on this documentary. He had already started working on it. I joined him. There are many reasons that I wish a lot of people see this documentary, and none of them have got to do honestly about the fact that I worked on it. Yes, only 5,000 people have seen it, and more people would see probably my Instagram story if I post something random right now within an hour than who have seen this documentary that we worked on for more than 3.5 years. I don't think there's been a documentary in Hindi film industry which looks at a filmmaker with such an intimate lens. We went to the places which had an impact on Sudhir Mishra as a filmmaker. So his hometown, Lucknow, the place where he was born, Sagar, FTI, NSD, and all such places which had an impact on him. And we just wanted to see where are these places now. So that kind of gave us a sense of this cultural decline that has happened in India over the last couple of decades. At the same time, the documentary doesn't glorify him. The documentary doesn't uses him as the star that, oh, come on, give us gyan ya hame kuch interesting batao. It just talks about what it is to make films in this city, in this industry, what it does to you, what it means to fail, what it means to make a great film like Hazaro Khwaishein Aisi, what it means to fail again after making Hazaro and then doing a Khoya Khoya Chand, which is your personal favorite, but it doesn't work. The importance of storytelling in that sense, you know, for a filmmaker and what it means to him. The documentary also gave me a chance to interact with the heroes of mine, the likes of Om Puri, Nasiruddin Shah, Deepti Naval, because we spoke to a lot of people who were part of the parallel cinema movement. Saeed Akdar Mirza, whose film Naseem I absolutely love. In our industry, we really, really like to idol worship a lot of people. A lot of directors are also idol worshipped. But when you spend so much time with the filmmaker, no, you realize the insecurities and how fragile this whole thing is. So much so that you stop judging them. You stop judging them for their bad films also. You stop glorifying them for their best work also. And I've analyzed all his work, from Hazaro to Dharavi to Calcutta Mail to Ye Sali Zindagi. But I don't think there's a filmmaker that I look at with so much of love and, you know, this sense of that he's a human being than Sudhir Mishra. And it's only happened because of this documentary. And the people who see this documentary also share the same experience. Besides seeing filmmakers as human beings, what it also did, which was this film was my film school, what it also did was that it taught me to look at characters as human beings also. And sometimes let the director or the writer take a backseat and let the character have his or her own life. An example of that is there's a sequence where Sudhir Mishra is going to his childhood home in Lucknow, and it's in complete ruins. So JB asked me and the editor to edit it, and both of us, we edited it and we made it very emotional because it's such an emotional thing, right? Tum ghar ja rahe ho, and it's all broken, and there's a kite flying, and Sudhir Mishra says, see, that's how I was, and there's an azan playing, and it's one of my most beautiful evenings. We were in Lucknow. Yeah, I mean, I still daydream about it or still think about it. And we edited it, and Jaideep comes and he sees this cut and he's like, hey, yaar, ye bahut tumne zyada emotional kar diya. And we're like, but it's emotional. He's like, but it's not emotional for Sudhir Mishra. Look what he's doing. And we extended the clip, and in the shots, he left his house, but he went back and he says, let me try and remember where my toilet was because I want to piss there again. And Jaideep asked us to include that because that's him, you know. And it taught me probably the most important lesson that, you know, sometimes the characters need to have their own life and you don't need to interfere with them. You need to show them as who they are. And I think all these three documentaries do that. Agnes looks at herself in this. Of course, there is a lot of self-censorship that happens. There's a lot of editing that happens. But it's all about giving you a sense of who these people are in the truest, purest form that's possible at that time. So these were the three documentaries that I wish everyone watches. And if you like them, I mean, just message me on Instagram, and I would love to talk about them. They are my personal favorites. And thank you to Chalchitra for making me revisit the work that I love, making me revisit the time of when I watched them, and making me revisit my old hard discs and old messages and old photos of so many people and so many emotions. So that way it was nice. I also think this was a very, very, very important exercise for me. And I'll tell you why. Because I read this book, or I read a bit of this book. It's on Carnatic music by T.M. Krishna. And he said something very, very interesting, and I think it's very, very crucial for filmmakers, writers, storytellers, or even human beings in general. He says that as a human being, you don't have a sense of aesthetic. So when people say that this is my kind of a song or this is my kind of a film, that doesn't mean shit. What has a sense of aesthetic is the art in front of you, is the song in front of you, is the painting in front of you. So what you need to do is keep the art above you, analyze it, see it as structure, see it as rhythm, see it in whatever rules or formats that particular art can be divided into, and try to understand why do you like this particular thing. And maybe therein lies the answer of what makes you. And when you understand that, it can probably help you be a better filmmaker, be a more empathetic filmmaker, or be a better person also. When you ask yourself, why do you like the certain things that you like? This exercise made me do that, you know. When I asked myself, why do I like Sideways? It's simply because it taught me that there's so many things that I love about life. I need to feel good about that. And so yeah, man, it's not an advice because I haven't thought of it. I'm just using borrowed knowledge. Always ask yourself why you like a particular thing and just break it down. It'll probably not get you somewhere, but it'll probably make a lot of sense in some way or the other. It's an important exercise, I guess. And keep watching Chalchitra Talks. And because I'm a digital star, so I will say this. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Chalchitra Talks.